out. So it's called Hallway of Hope, and we would love to hear all about it. What inspired this? How long did it take? Tell us about this book.
Well, I've always had the goal of writing a children's book, and I've never gotten it done. And in addition to my musical passions, I have the privilege of getting to be one of the volunteer dog walkers out at Central Dakota Humane Society. And so one day, probably a year and a half or so ago, I was walking with one of the other volunteers, and we were talking about how we bet that when everyone went home at night that the dogs told each other stories. So that sort of planted the seed for getting this put down on paper, and then the manuscript happened last January, and then I was honored to be able to have Dakota create these illustrations. That all of this helps bring to life the stories of 7 dogs from the shelter. These are all real dogs, and there's one fictional dog in the story. And the book is intended to have not just a message of hope, but one of tolerance and acceptance and other important life lessons. There's a spiritual element to it as well. And there's really, again, something for everyone in this book. It's appropriate for children, really of all ages, and has a message that I hope can travel far.
And Dakota, how did you feel when you were asked to illustrate Beverly's book? And is this the first book you've ever illustrated?
This is the first book that I've ever illustrated, and when Beverly asked me, I was very excited, but at the same time kind of nervous because this would be a new challenge for me.
And this is based on, as you said, dogs that are really up for adoption right now. So did you have to kind of go meet them and go see them, or how did you come about drawing them for the book?
I never got to meet any of the dogs, even though I feel like it would be a good idea to still, but I had pictures of them and descriptions of how they are and their personality, and went through the entire story to get ideas for the images that I had to draw.
Well,
Sure.
They definitely have a lot of stories in that hallway, I'm sure. And I love the title, Beverly Hallway of Hope. So we have to show one photo of a pup who already has gotten their copy. This is Hansel. Tell us about Hansel.
Well, Handsome Hansel, as he is known, was a resident of the shelter, and he was adopted by some wonderful friends of mine, and they actually already got a copy of their book, and so his mom, Stephanie, and his dad, Eric, sent me this picture the other day of Hansel looking at the book already, and his story is truly one of inspiration, and I think even just reading his chapter, I know it gives me hope, and I hope it does that for other people as well.
And Beverly, for anybody that's not in the book and doesn't get a copy, where might they purchase a copy?
So right now it's available on Amazon in the ebook as well as hard copy versions, and then we'll be having some upcoming events, book signings and things like that here in the community very soon.
Okay, well, you'll definitely have to let us know all about that. Fantastic work, both of you. Thank you, Beverly and Dakota, for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, stay tuned because Marlo is going to let us know what we should celebrate on today's National Day calendar, and we have our Smile of the Day.
Plus, we find out if we got the right answer to our trivia tree question.